What if compassion could change the way we eat and live? A new movement is taking root, one that promotes empathy, sustainability, and plant-based choices. At the forefront is Animal Empathy Philippines, working with farmers, youth groups, and local governments to strengthen animal welfare, biosecurity, and food safety. We speak with co-founder and executive director Kate Lupango, who believes that when compassion and science come together, we protect not just farm animals, but the health and future of every Filipino. I'm Rochelle Rubio, and this is The Advocates, Empowering Voices. They feed us, they clothe us, they sustain our communities. Yet, their welfare is too often forgotten. Our farm animals. Healthy animals mean safe food and healthier nation. But when care is neglected, the consequences ripple from farmyards to families through outbreaks that put everyone at risk. Animal Empathy Philippines is leading the call for compassion in farm animals. Their mission to help Filipinos improve the lives of farmed animals, raise public awareness, and work with partners toward lasting, tangible change. Co-founder and executive director Kate Lupango shares how empathy can transform not just farms, but lives.
Animal Empathy Philippines, we're the first non-stop non-profit that is solely dedicated to farm animal advocacy. So we aim to empower Filipinos to create impactful action by bringing farm animals into the forefront, using empathy and evidence, and using collective efforts. So our core advocacy is, we advocate that farm animals are important and also deserve the similar compassions and care that we give to others, especially to farm animals, because there's billions and trillions of farm animals being killed and being used worldwide, and most of them are really suffering. So they're exploited and not in a good, living in a very bad conditions. So our goal is we want to increase the efforts that's being done by Filipinos towards how we can better support farm animals. So most of the farm animals in the Philippines is actually pigs. You have pigs, chickens, cows, ducks, and then fish. So fish is also part of the farm animals. And our why did we choose to focus on this? Because we understand there's there's no specific work or limited work being done in taking care of farm animals or advocating for them, and we understand that the more that we care for farm animals, that means also we can have a better future and a more sustainable world for everyone.
In the noise of progress and production, the quiet suffering of farm animals is often drowned out, easy to overlook, easier to forget. But for one group, that silence became a call to action. Animal Empathy Philippines was born out of compassion and conviction. They share a common belief that with the little time they have, they can still choose to do the greatest good by becoming the voices for those who cannot speak for themselves, such as the farmed animals.
AEP started during the pandemic, so we call it our pandemic baby. So it was fun. It was founded into Effective Altruism Philippines. So Effective Altruism Philippines is also one of the organization and community that I co-founded. So Effective Altruism, it is a movement, it's a philosophy on asking how we can do the most good given our limited time and resources. So one of the cause areas or problems that the community is trying to solve is when it comes to factory farming and animal welfare. So part of what we do in Effective Altruism Philippines is we host fellowship. So that's where those Filipino who are interested in this topic can go together and try to study and identify some of the actions that we can do. So we did a fellowship that's specific to farm animals. It's called Introductory to Effective Animal Advocacy. And it was successful because there's a lot of Filipinos who are interested, and we conducted it virtually. So we were able to get some participants outside Metro Manila, which is, I think, very good when it comes to trying to provide more context on what is the situation of farm animals in the Philippines. And as a result of that, I think that's also the very pivotal moment for us to really see and understand the need for this type of movement, for this type of community to really spread out. And we decided, the three of us, so my co-founder, Ging Geronimo, and Janay Barrel, so we decided to start the organization and really put it as a non-profit organization to be able to be the voice for farm animals.
Animal Empathy Philippines is led by 3 women from diverse professional backgrounds, bound by one common advocacy: Kate Lupango, Ging Geronimo, and Janaisa Baril.
We met in Effective Altruism Philippines, and most of us are really working professional. We have different backgrounds. My background is really more on the accounting side. Ging is more on the government, so she worked before in NEDA and in World Bank, and then Jana also works in I think in climate science and then in freelance work. So we really have different backgrounds, and I think part of why we got together was really for the for our dream to establish an organization and have more people talk about this topic, and then try to find ways like what are the actions that we can do. And I think it's also important to have a uh, community of people who will support each one of these initiatives.
Animal Empathy Philippines deeply values its volunteers, individuals driven by a shared passion for the welfare of farm animals. Some of their full-time staff began as volunteers, later joining the organization when opportunities opened. To date, they have welcomed around 50 volunteers who continue to help advance their mission.
When we started, it was the three of us, so it's quite difficult, challenging. But I'm happy to say that the team was already grown. So in total, we have 7 full time, all women as well. So the organization is a very women led organization. They also have a very diverse backgrounds. None of us are from the vet science, but I think that's also one of the strength of the organization to be able to communicate into different disciplines or different areas how important farm animals in our daily life. Farm animals has been through, they are part of the society, and I think it's important to be able to communicate it in that way. Some of the stories of our community of our uh, full-time employees, they are actually part of our volunteers. So they started as a volunteer through our organization, and eventually, so there are some open positions, so they were qualified and hired. And I think that's also a good testament for the organization, because they were able to see what our mission is and how we work, and then eventually they were interested to join full time. Some of our full time staff also has been into the movement for quite a while, so they're already uh, into the animal movement specific. So we have one who is our program officer. We call her the vegan mermaid. So she did classes. She did classes in terms of mermaid school, and she's also a vegan. I think for 4 to 5 years already. We have one communication associate is also into wild animals. So uh, she also did some organization, established his own organization called Our Endangered PH. But yeah, so that goes like the connection of all, and I think the collaborations that's being done in our organization. As to the volunteers, I would say estimated we already onboarded 50 volunteers uh, in different areas. So there are volunteers who help us in booths. So we do have events. So they are the one who's helping us prepare. There's also some volunteers who help us with some of the reports or research that we've been doing. So part of the core principles of our organization is empathy and evidence. So we understand that topic of farm animal advocacy is quite new or quite limited, especially in the context of Philippines. So that's why we're trying to find ways on how we can provide more knowledge in this area. That can also means like tailor fitting some of the information to make it more accessible to the public, or trying to provide more or new insights on how we think or uh, communicate with the animals. So, and then some of the volunteers that we have also is, it depends on the expertise. So we have some volunteers who's also, let's say, good in graphic design. So one of our volunteer, uh, we had an event recently. It's called Poke. We have participated, so PokeCon PH. So one of our volunteers actually designed some of our merch. So she designed it in uh like highlighting some of the farm animals in the Pokemon, which is really good. So it helped us to communicate the similarities of those. And yeah, so those kind of peoples, I would say, uh, that we got engaged. I think, and also as an organization, we really value volunteers, not only because they help support the organization, but the passion that they have. So a lot of the volunteers would come up to us with a lot of stories on how they find out about the org, or how they communicate, or what's their experience with animals. There are some, if I may, there are some volunteers, they share that they have a chicken before that they really take care of, and then that's how they try to, or that's how they kind of communicate or learn about showing compassion to animals, because they have a chicken. There's another one, they have a goat. So and then her mother has a goat, and then I forgot the name, but they usually told us those stories. And for us, that's also important, because it helps to provide more type of understanding of what is the relationship that the volunteers have. And I think it also goes to shows that whether you're volunteering for companion animals or for other advocacy, it's also important that those type of efforts can be also translated to farm animals.
The group also advocates for non human animals care, a concept that challenges us to extend compassion beyond our own species. But what does it really mean, and why does it matter? They explored these questions in a recent conference held in Davao City.
The recent activity is actually, it's a conference. So it's a Philippine Sociological Conference in Ateneo de Davao. So we presented the paper about advocating for non-human care, non-human animal care, and why is it important uh, to mitigate the uh, crisis. So the crisis particular on the pandemics and epidemics. So we're trying to. So the paper focuses on advocating that our anthropocentric views, or meaning that the human is the center of everything, is one of the reasons of why there are some pandemics and crisis that's being faced. So that's why it's important to understand that the society is not solely consists of humans. So it actually involves also with animals, and the way that we care for the way that we care for animals, particular for farm animals, it's also an indicator on how we can also prevent some of those crises. So yeah, that is what the paper that we presented recently.
Kate and her team travel across the country to promote awareness through research, seminars, workshops, and other projects focused on animal welfare, particularly for farm animals. Their efforts include improving farmers' biosecurity practices to help prevent African swine fever, a highly contagious viral disease that affects both domestic and wild pigs. They work closely with local government units and partner organizations to ensure greater impact and efficiency.
We've done projects before in General Trias. The project is engaging youth, so youth leaders, on introducing the topic on how they can be a better advocate for farm animals. So it was conducted. We conducted two workshops. That's last year, if I remember correctly. So uh 2-day workshop where we introduce like what are the issues that's being faced by farm animals and what are the things that they can do. And after the 2-day workshop, we encourage them to do a capstone project. So it is like the after workshop project, which they can implement on their barangay. So there are, I think there's 3 projects that we conducted based on the capstone project. So one of the project is to conduct the vet will conduct some veterinary services to the backyard farmers intro to help communicate to the farmers like what is the situation of their animals or what are the things that they can do at home to prevent some of those diseases. Another one is like a training, so they also did a training to introduce the topic, those kind of things. And then we also did a research in last year in CAPIS. So the CAPIS is the CAPIS, this is in partnership with Capiz State University Punta Vedra campus. And the research focuses on trying to understand what is the gap when it comes to some of the backyard farming practices specific to swine. And the result, some of the results actually is also to help introduce the animal welfare to the farmers or the animal handlers. And so our current recent project is still ongoing, is the one also in Iloilo. So in Iloilo, we're conducting a research in partnership with Provincial Vet Office, and it targeted 5 municipalities. So the municipalities, and we're trying to help improve the biosecurity practices of the farmers especially also in swine, uh, in the prevention of ASF.
Their top 3 wins for farmed animals. What are they and why do they matter?
We highlighted 3. So first is the building of nationwide community for farm animal advocates. So we do have a community. It's called Pinoy for Farm Animals. It's a Facebook group, and now we're actually on the 1,000, nearing 1,000 members. And the goal for that, and I think it's a really big win for us and for the movement, is to have a community where people can communicate or talk to about this topic and also to get informed. I think it's also important um, to share the resources or even volunteer opportunities on where they can help or what are the supports that uh, they can do, and also provide the recent information what's happening in the farm animal space. Second win for us is how we translate the compassion into a more strategic and evidence-based action. So we understand when it comes to farm animal advocacy, it's very complex. So there's a lot of understanding that needs to do, and what we're trying to do is to help capacitate people on what are the action that they can take based on the evidence. At the same time, we're trying to also piloted a lot of research or reports that can be useful to the advocates to make those type of decisions. And and I would say a large part of those is also providing collaboration with different sectors such as the LGU, academe, and then we also engage with some of the corporate. So that I think that's also important to be able to have that type of uh, work or connection in doing this advocacy. We're also in touch din naman po with the policy makers. We were invited last year in the first public hearing of the revised Animal Welfare Act. For now, I think the stage for the organization is to try to build more evidence on what is the situation to better provide what is the uh, policy plan or what is the policy uh, ask that we want to do. So for us at the moment, that's where we are. But definitely, in terms with the impact, we see that providing in the policy and lobbying would be very helpful for the farm animal. The third one is to bring farm animals into national and international spotlight, putting farm animals in the spotlight when it comes to lobbying in the policy. So putting them as a stakeholder then, so that's what we're trying to do. Collating some of the responses. So we're working on the position paper to also provide our insight on the Animal Welfare Act. So we got some good responses as well from the community. So that's also what we're trying to do, is to help and encourage members, advocates to participate in this type of initiatives. And then part of it is also, yeah, trying to provide them in the spotlight in our daily life. So one example, when it comes to disaster, very recent, um, we seldom hear farm animals being saved in this type of situation. There's also least discussion when it comes to how to mitigate or how to better respond, what are the responses that can be provided to farm animals. We understand that there's a lot of farm animals, different species, deserve different needs. So that's where also we're trying to open up the conversation. I think it's important. We know that it's complex. This is a complex topic, but we're opening up the discussion on trying to find solutions or ways that we can help farm animals.
The relatively new Animal Empathy Philippines has already made meaningful strides in advancing farm animal welfare. From raising public awareness to influencing policy discussions and improving on-ground practices, their efforts are gaining traction, especially among the youth and other sectors who believe compassion should extend to all living beings. Their growing support base reflects a shift in mindset that caring for farmed animals isn't just about kindness, but also about food safety, sustainability, and the future of farming in the Philippines.
Yeah, I think the testaments of our initiative is also a clear indication of their support. And what what we usually do is we try to have conversation first with different sectors, such as the LGU, trying to identify what is the need that is providing. For example, for Iloilo, ASF is a very big issue. And although there is a recognition that there's already initiatives being done, uh, trying to maintain, for example, the biosecurity practices by the farmers has a lot of difficulties. So there's a change in behavior, there's a concern about environment, their facilities. So we're trying to help in terms with that. So that's why the project in Iloilo is dedicated to the farmers on how they standards, like creating a more standards that is more applicable to them. And I would say also when it comes to students, they're very interested. So we're very happy with the students across different courses. So I think because the youth has a uh more visibility or more active participation when it comes to this type of advocacy. And their type of support is also different. So I'm also quite happy with the type of help that they want.
Student volunteers support the organization in many ways, from helping set up booth displays to introducing Animal Empathy Philippines and its advocacy to their own student groups, and even featuring the organization as a topic in their own research.
There are some students, yeah, they would help us with the booth or the event, so they would volunteer in that. There are other student volunteers who would actually pitch the organization to their other student organization. So this they have student organization. That's another thing. And then what we're very happy and surprised is actually they're uh putting us in their research paper. So they're having us as their and the organization or the farm animals as their research topic or even the advocacy paper. And that's for us is a really big win. So in terms with the information, and they got and what is also good is they can get to spend time to learn about this, so they get to understand it more. Oh, okay. There are difference of the treatment of farm animals in our country versus in the other countries, and these are some of the things or their recommendation that they can do. And lastly, I think it's also important because they're like the champion for us. They are also the one who's communicating our advocacy even without us, so through their school or through their classroom. And I think that's a very important use and important thing for us.
In an event held last September 26 to 28 at Market, Pokemon Philippines community chose Animal Empathy Philippines as their official advocacy partner, blending pop culture with compassion. During the event, the group shared a unique talk titled 5 Pokemon Lessons that Inspire Us to Care for Farmed Animals, using the beloved franchise to spark empathy and awareness among fans of all ages.
The Pokemon event, they actually reach out to us. So Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken, they've been doing this for 4 years now. And each of their convention or events, they really highlighted some of the organization. So for this year, they want to highlight specific for farm animals. So they reach out to us saying they will be AEP will be one of the beneficiary of their event. And they said to us because they particularly look for farm animals because they want to advocate to their community that if you love Pokemon, you need to advocate for farm animals because similar to some of the Pokemon characters, their hardship or the experiences or sufferings that those Pokemon character faces is also faces that the farm animals is facing. So that it's good because they realize it and also resonate with them. Um, so what also good when it comes to this type of event is since we're a community, so we collect a lot of insights. So as a founder, I'm not familiar with Pokemon, so I need to rely with other people to help us craft. Okay, so how can we design our booth, or how can we communicate better to the attendees to help understand our cause? Because we know uh, it will be difficult to just say, oh, you care for animals, but it has to be connected to their interests or uh, their experiences. So what we did, some backstory about how we work as a community is, yeah, we reach out to some of the community members to help us craft the theme of our booth, and then yeah, help design our merch or even our games to make it more attractive or interesting to them. The first one is actually that similar to Pokemon characters, farm animals also needs to evolve. That means they need to also thrive. They also need to spend their lives free. They're able to do a lot of things. So I think that also resonated to a lot of attendees there. They donated some of the portion. I think some of the community members also donated. And then, yeah, so it's a fundraising event. So if they participate on some of our games, they will be able to donate. And then there's also a merch. So the merch is a special edition type of thing because it's a Pokemon farm animal type of merch. So those kind.
Compassionate choices. Kate explains what it means and what the team hopes to achieve through this advocacy.
Compassionate Choices, this is our special project. So we want Filipinos to explore more on the plant-based living. And part of it is trying to make it more accessible. So one of the things that we do is we partner with companies to help introduce plant-based products to or initiatives to their employees. So such as like making your baon more plant-based is a good way to start because we understand as well on the corporation side that they're really caring for their employees, and one of way to help care for their employees through health. So we want to help them provide more resources or initiatives on how can employees be uh, introduce more when it comes to plant-based products. Part of the initiative is actually to provide a workshop to the companies, to their employees on how to really make their baon plant-based. And there are also some resources. Part of the engagement that we're working on is to also provide resources that they can share to their employees to make it more easier. We understand the difficulty of trying to choose what are the plant-based or what are the alternatives. So, but yeah, people can start actually in tofu. So tofu is a very versatile thing that they can veganize. So and also good substitute to meat. And I guess just to add on that, because it is also important for the companies to also help introduce this topic because yeah, so the health issue is a very big concern, and we've learned from recent studies as well that if the employee is very healthy, that means it very in terms of the productivity, it increases. So part of it is like how we can also prevent some of the diseases, health conditions of our employees is definitely through preventions and providing alternatives such as the plant-based food.
Advocating for the welfare of farmed animals is not easy. For Kate Lupango and her team at Animal Empathy Philippines, the challenges are many.
There's a lot of challenges, and I think it's also similar to a lot of organizations. But for our case, since this is a new, this is people always say this is the first time they heard about this. They don't know about this type of advocacy. So there's a lot of things that we need to do, so such as improving the way that we communicate. So we took a lot of time to really understand, okay, so how do Filipino understand farm animal advocacy? So we, we understand there's some, I would say, difficult conversation when it comes because it's related to food and livelihood. But but what we understand and what we learn is definitely communicating it based on the values, especially the Filipino values. That's why one of our main program is called Bayanihan for Farm Animals. So the Bayanihan for Farm Animals, it collates the whole organization purpose, which is that everyone can contribute. So similar to Bayanihan, that everyone can help improving the lives of farm animals, whatever backgrounds or whatever support that you can give is that is very necessary. And it also means that each one of us has a responsibility to do so. And it's also a play around words about BFF, meaning best friends. So because we also want to change somehow the perspective or introduce that farm animals can actually be our friends or kapwa. And so far, those kind of initiative has been helpful for us and very engaging for them to be more acceptive about the issues. And I would say the second challenge that we face is since there's a lot of there's still a lot of things that we don't know when it comes to farm animals in the context of Philippines, especially in the advocacy part. So that's why we're trying to see what are the priorities and what are the emerging things that we can or the most help that the farm animals need right now. And but what's good, I would say, when it comes to these challenges, it's actually more people are getting interested. We see a lot of people interested in this, and most of the time their question is really how can I help? What are the things that you need? So those kind of things give us really inspiration as well on to continue the work that we do. And yeah, so eventually our hope is yeah, we will be able to scale up this advocacy, talk to the policymakers on and even the corporations on how to really escalate and provide more care for the animals.
How can the public help them in their advocacy for farmed animals?
Public can help us. So first is getting curious. So there's a lot of resources. I think it's important that we somehow get curious about our relationship with farm animals. That's a good start. It starts with, oh, how can I take care of the how can we change lives of farm animals specific to pigs, chickens, or fish. It's also good to also think about where they are. So meaning when it comes to, let's say, again, coming from the disaster perspective, when it comes to disaster, I think that's also a good start to rethink, oh, what will happen to farm animals. Like, saan nagtago, let's say, saan kaya nagtatago yung mga chickens kapag may disasters or pag may bahana, di ba? So, paano naman yung mga baboy or yung mga cow? I think that's a good stepping stone to think about it. We understand po kasi when it comes to disaster, syempre our safety first is the priority, diba? So there should be also knowledge and discussion that will be highlighted din doon when also, yeah, some question like evacuation center or even lang yung unleashing din. So similar to companion, unleashing yung mga animals because farm animals can, they can survive if given the chance then during the time of disasters. And I hope we can also give that. Another thing that I would encourage the public is really create actions. So whatever background that they have, whatever capacity, actually that's already a good thing. Like I've mentioned throughout this discussion, there's a lot of stories of different advocates coming from different fields, coming from different background. And they saw that the strengths that they have or the capacity that they have is actually good in helping farm animals. There's a lot of communities and groups then naman po who's also working in this space. And I think it's also important to work together because this is a really big issues and we're still on the beginning stage of it. So we need a lot of people, a lot of support in to be able to champion this advocacy.
Kate shared her insights on how society treats farm animals and her hope that more people will help spread awareness about their welfare. She encourages everyone to start with small steps, such as trying a plant-based diet for a day or a simple act of empathy and change.
I would say like the message that I want to is each one of us can definitely help farm animals in every actions, every decisions that we can make is actually a good vote to helping farm animals. And if you don't know where to start, I think it's important to think about what are the contributions that we can do, as simple as, let's say, sharing some of the recent information, factual information that you receive, or even trying to, yeah, so eat plant-based or vegan food for a day, that's already a win and it's important. And also finding people. So there are a lot of animal advocates here in the Philippines. So maybe call your friends or who is an animal advocate and try to have a conversation with them to learn more about this. And yeah, I think it starts with trying to think and reanalyze our relationship with farm animals, and from that, that's where the time that we can fully understand like farm animals is no different with us. They should also be free from suffering and exploitation, and they also deserve to live their best life.
For Animal Empathy Philippines, compassion is more than a belief. It is action for a kinder, safer, and more sustainable tomorrow. Through education, collaboration, and advocacy, they promote compassionate choices. Choices that protect animal welfare, support farmers, and keep our food supplies safe. Because when Filipinos choose empathy, we protect not just farm animals, but the health and future of our communities. This has been Rochelle Rubio for 104.3 The Capital. Join me again next Friday on The Advocates, Empowering Voices.
This is where the voices of the voiceless are heard. The Advocates, Empowering Voices, hosted by Rochelle Rubio on 104.3 The Capital.